join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. If I could have a motion to approve the agenda for the business meeting of March 11th, 2024.
Eric and Jim.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, this is part of the fun part. All right, so we're going to have an accolade and the Science Olympia team. So I'd like to turn it over. Might I turn over to you, Mike, first, or just directly to Jim Hutchins, our science teacher?
Yeah, I'll say a quick welcome to Jim and the crew. I think it's always one of the favorite times of the year when Jim brings the students in and gets to brag a little bit about how awesome they are. So again, once, Jim, come on up and introduce your kids and your helpers, and can't wait to hear about it.
It's my understanding that my principal will take precedence over there.
Oh my God, Mr. Reed, when did you get here? I was just listening.
We've got everyone involved.
I'll be quick,
Excellent.
folks. This is really Mr. Hutchins' show, but I just wanted to quickly thank you to the students, all right, for doing a great job of representing Greenville being smart and strong at the regional tournament. I know Mr. Hudson's going to talk about all your accomplishments in a minute. Thank you to our parent coach. I think we have one student coach. All right, without you, these enriching opportunities for our students wouldn't be happening. So again, thank you for volunteering that time. Then of course to Mr. Hutchins for just overseeing the Science Olympiad and all your hard work that you put into this every year to make, again, a great opportunity for our students, beyond the classroom. So thank you, and here's Mr. Hutchins.
So, good evening. I'm Jim Hutchins, 7th grade science. The Greenville Science Olympiad team level B, which is 6th through 9th grade, competed on Saturday, February 10th in the regional tournament in East Greenbush. The team did well, earning medals in many events. I'd like to start, though, by thanking our coaches, because the way this thing works, I think I've described it before, it's like a track event for science and engineering. So, like any athlete on a track team, they don't do everything. They train for different activities. So these students train from 1 up to 4 different activities. They can be tests, they can be lab events, they can be events where they build something. But it would be impossible to do this without all the volunteer coaches. So I want to start by thanking Louise Bouquet, Sean Katz, Michelle Litz, Jill Snyder, Scott Snyder, and as Mr. Reed mentioned, our high school student who coached, and Anthony Zhang, because without them we couldn't do so. At this point, I'd like to start calling kids up who are on the team, and you guys, when you come up here, you get to stay up here too, so everyone can stare at you. So I first want to call Preston Orlando, who was on our roller coaster team. Started line kind of going there. All right, next up, Alex Bouquet from 9th grade, who took 2nd place in optics. And his brother Ben Bouquet in 7th grade, who took 2nd place in optics. And Brady Caro in 7th grade, who took 3rd place in fossils and wheeled vehicle. Lucas Cruz, I didn't actually see everyone who was here. Is Lucas here? Okay, he took 5th place in experimental design. Caden Henson, 8th grade, who took 5th place in experimental design. Nessa Kelliger, who is in 8th grade, took 2nd place in Right to Do It and 3rd place in Fast Facts. Lucas Litzu can't be here tonight. 6th grader just to let you know, he took 5th place in Code Buster Experimental Design and Micro Mission. Alana McDonald Katz, which I'm sorry to say, this is her last year with us as a player. Hopefully she's going to come back as a coach. 2nd place, Crime Busters. 5th place, Code Busters. 6th place, Reach for the Stars. And Alex also needs to come back to coach because he's in my favor this year. Sabrina McDonald Katz, 6th grade, who took 2nd place in Crime Busters. 6th place, Reach for the Stars. Kyle Powell, 8th grade, who took 2nd place, Right to Do It, and 3rd place, Fast Facts. We're running out of room up here. Steven Snyder, who took 7th place, 3rd place for Real Vehicle. And last but not least, Jack Solis in 6th grade, who took 3rd place for Bosses. So this is the team. Get in there with them. Great job, everyone, and I look forward to you all coming back in some capacity again next year. One thing that's nice about this is we have such a range of grades. So we have new ones coming out as old people are old people. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Look here, I want to get everybody's smile big. I'll do one more. Thank you, congratulations.
And have pizza and play games. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of you. It's just wonderful to see kind of the wide range of students interested in sciences.
While the students are departing, I do want to say that Mr. Lopez and the elementary school students will be taking part in Odyssey of the Mind down in Sakiathens on March 23rd. That's Saturday all day. So again, just another example of our students going above and beyond just the classroom and getting the opportunity to do more. So it's just great. Good job, Alex. Over here.
That is either a very big sheet cake. All right, so now I'm going to move us on to the open forum. The Greenville Central School District wishes to facilitate public access to meetings of the Board of Education and to provide an opportunity for public comment at these meetings. Accordingly, the open forum provides an opportunity for members of the public to share thoughts about topics on the agenda. An individual's comments shall be limited to 5 minutes. Additionally, comments may also be emailed to the district clerk, Daphne Pearson, using the email pearsond at the meeting. It must be received by 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting and state that the email is to be read out loud. Emails shall be limited to 600 words. Please note that this is not the time to register complaints that need to be addressed confidentially through the proper channels. Remarks that might be considered defamatory, obscene, profane, stigmatizing, or otherwise impermissible in public forums are prohibited and will be declared out of order. Board members actively listen during the open forum but may not immediately respond to comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Do we have any emails?
We do not.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to move us on to discussion, please. So, for the first topic, we have an athletic update, the winter wrap-up, and we're going to have Denise Wickham, Director of HPE. We would say Health and PE. Something, something, something. There's no ampersand in between. That's my issue. Health and physical education.
Well,
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you for having me. So the winter season was great. We finished up finally. Boys basketball, just kind of go through them. Boys basketball ended up 3rd place in the Patroon Conference with a 10-5 record. They ended up number 8 seed for the Class B sectionals. Unfortunately, we lost our first sectional game, which put us out. Jack Giroso was first team all-patroon, all-conference, and he got a school record this year with 72 made threes in one season. So that's pretty phenomenal. Congratulations to him. Girls basketball, 19-2 overall record this year. They were 14-1 in the league. They earned a Patroon Conference championship with their victory over Cooksaki Athens and Waterville in the finals to bring home the Patroon Conference championship. Bryn Fitzmaurice scored her 1,000th point during that Patroon Conference tournament during the Cooksaki game, so that was a milestone for Bryn. And Emily Smith was first team all-conference, and Bryn Fitzmaurice was second team all-conference. Kevin Smith and Steve Gipridge both were named coaches of the year for girls basketball this year by their colleagues. And they were a scholar athlete team. Cheerleading this year. So cheerleading, they entered 3 invitationals this year. They went to Saratoga where they finished 4th place. Then they went to Columbia, they finished 2nd. And then they finally, their last one was at Colony, where they actually were the champions in their division. So Erica and Megan are doing a great job of building up that program to be successful, and we look forward to see what they're going to be able to do. They also had an alumni game this year. I don't know if any of you were present during that, but it was phenomenal. So they brought back, any alumni that wanted to do it, they got in touch with. I think they signed up through Facebook. And even the alumni went out onto the floor during a basketball game and did a cheer. So kudos to Erica for coordinating all of that and making that happen. It was really a special thing. They were also scholar athlete teams. And I will say that Erica and Megan are also looking to build up the program even more by starting a youth cheerleading program within our community. So more to come on that. Erica will be looking into that. They're looking into that for this coming summer, I think. Boys volleyball. So this was a rebuilding year for our boys. We graduated 11 kids last year and had 1 returner this year. But even though it was a rebuilding year, they were competitive within all of their games. The record didn't show much of that. I think they had 5 wins during the season, but again, they were competitive in their matches, just couldn't finish those off. 7 seniors graduating this year again, so we're going to be back to rebuilding again next year. But Coach Hughes is looking forward to it and having a good season next year. Scholar athlete team as well. And we're going to finish up with wrestling. We have our wrestling coach and a couple of our kids here. Wrestling in the postseason this year did phenomenal. They did great during the whole entire season. But postseason is where you really want to kind of, I guess, hit your peak, right? So during classes, we had a number of kids that ended up placing. So I'm just going to read down through these. We had Jude Aloisi, who finished 3rd. Connor Aloisi, who was the champion at 108. Colby Beers finished 2nd place. Trevor Flenstead finished 4th place. Kieran Cullen, who was here, was our champion at the classes. Joe Davis, who was here, was the champion at the classes. Caleb Barrage was 5th place. Caleb Pettit was 3rd place. Bryant Flenstead was 4th place. Ian Lafferty was 6th place. And the boys actually ended up as a team finishing in 4th place. So, yeah. So, some of our kids went on to state qualifiers, okay, which is sectionals, regionals. Wrestling's a little bit different. So, Colby Beers ended up in 2nd place there. Kieran Cullen was the champion. Joe Davis was the champion at sectionals. Bryant Flenstead ended up in 4th place, and the team finished in 6th place overall at state qualifiers. So out of those, we had 2 kids that actually finished, with the championships that went on to the state tournament this year. So phenomenal with that. State, Kieran Cullen finished 2nd place at states. losing a very close match to the champion. And Joe Davis, he lost a close contest, just kind of putting him out of the medal round, but he represented us really well at states. So I have them here today because it's quite an honor for our kids to make it to that level of competition and to do very well at that level. So I'm really proud of them. If you guys would come up here, Kieran Collin. And I'm going to have Pat come up here too. I know he likes to be up in front of people. Come on, get up here. Don't be shy. I know you're not shy. Congratulations. And just say a few words because it was really a phenomenal season.
Yeah, overall, just super pleased with this group of kids. It was somewhat of a rebuilding year, we thought, and then what they accomplished, sending 8 of them to state qualifiers was quite an achievement. We've never really done that before, and they've really kind of bought into the program. We have a great group of young guys. We are losing 5, 6 seniors this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Colby, Kieran, Joe, Caleb Pettit, Caleb Burridge, and Brian Funstead. Outstanding athletes, but this group that's coming up behind them is just something else, and they've really kind of taken a position where they can walk right into these guys' shoes here. Hopefully we'll have a great season next year. Just happy with what the program's produced. We do have a new addition. We have Henry Mormile, used to coach for Dingley. He's our modified coach, and Ben Davis, Joe's older brother, used to be one of my wrestlers as well. He came on as an assistant. They were a huge help this year, just having them in the room, and Henry's actually started a youth program that we had about 6 weeks, 2 nights a week. We had upwards of 100 kids. So hopefully this can help make this program grow and turn into what we hope it will be. Thank you very much.
Coach, before you take off, I would just like to say a couple of things. First of all, thank you for your commitment to this program, and their success is a testimonial to the work that you put in building this program and keeping kids involved. I know that wrestling is often a tough sport to get students involved, and you have done a great job of not only recruiting but keeping kids. So I want to thank you, Joe and Kieran. It is the amount of dedication and commitment that you guys show to get to this level is, if you don't know wrestling, you have no idea how hard you guys worked. And I've spent a little bit of time around wrestling, so I really do appreciate your commitment to the sport and representing Greenville as well as you have. And it's been fun to follow along and watch. Kieran, I got to ask, how many wins did you end up with throughout your career? That is an extraordinary number for a high school wrestler. So congratulations to both of you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And I love the fact that you didn't know the exact number. That's great.
Thank you.
Well done, congratulations.
Okay, so to finish off, so Kieran Cullen was also for the Patroon Conference was the most outstanding wrestler at the lightweight division. Colby Beers was a first team all conference. Joe Davis, first team all conference. Caleb Pettit, first team all conference. Bryant Flenstead, first team all conference. Connor Aloisi and Trevor Flenstead were second team all conference. So we had a lot of kids that were on that all conference team. And Coach Cullen was voted in as Coach of the Year as well. So going back to your question, Kieran Cullen, I believe after watching it, it was 222 wins, 115 pins, 5-time Section 2 Class C champion, and 5-time state qualifier. So, you know, he also was very much integral, a part of helping that team to grow as a leader on that team. So they're going to have to fill some shoes next year with that leadership role. Questions for me?
The cheer you had mentioned that for the, can you tell us a little bit without divulging too much?
I don't know all the details of it. Erica had mentioned it to me when we were meeting for her end of the season meeting. So her and Megan are looking to get some people involved in the community, some other adults, and to, you know, start a cheer program at the younger levels. Because right now, we really don't have anything as a feeder program to cheer. So we have a varsity program. We could probably do JV and varsity if we split those two coaches. But right now, I don't think that they want to do that at this point. But getting those younger kids going would probably be really helpful for that program to continue to grow. A lot of really good things happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Denise, appreciate it.
Would like to recognize that Coach Cohen also runs our track. He coaches the track, so he does an awful lot from being a parent in the community.
He does. He does that too, and I know he was integral in getting the whole wrestling program started when, you know, when it first started way back when, with Duncan. All right. Thank you.
All right, so now I'm going to move us on to an update on the capital project, and Mike Bennett, if you provide that, please.
Absolutely. This is a quick update. There's really no update. One of the things that we wanted to do is make sure we kept a placeholder on this, and when Angela and Tracy and I had met this past week, they asked if we should keep this on. And, you know, we're at that stage right now where we may hear something from New York State any day, so I said let's keep it on there as a placeholder. If we get any more information from SEI or Schoolhouse on where we're at in the process, we would update the board. So as of this point, we're still waiting on the final stages of architect before it gets to the mechanical piece. So, no update.
All right, thank you. Then I'm going to move us on to a budget update. So, take it away. Keep going, I should say.
I will say that we've still waiting on a few things, and I know that Todd put together a little bit of an update for us. So for fear of stealing anything he's going to say, I'm going to stop now and let Todd update us.
Good evening all. So following up to the conversation that we had at last week's budget presentation, one of the questions was a more specific breakdown of the changes that happened between February 26th and March 4th, which was last week. I actually put on here March 11th because even in the past week there have been some fine tuning and adjustments as well. So up on the screen is the breakdown. Last week it was just kind of broad overview and major buckets, so to speak, of what these categories were. This shows a more specific breakdown, so I'll just walk through this, and if there's any questions, certainly let me know. But on the left-hand side are the changes in revenue. So this is what I spoke to last week of when we look at our revenue, especially the first three that are listed on here are expenditure-driven aids, meaning the amount that we spend in this current year is what determines what we get in aid the following year. So when we create these first projections for revenue in these areas, we really err on the conservative side when we do that in really December and January. What I was able to do between that February meeting and the March 4th meeting was go through and really make a more accurate prediction based on current year's expenditures where we would be. So the first one there, transportation aid, an increase of about $68,000. Excess cost aid, which is based on placement of students outside of Greenville, so special ed students, $25,000 increase. BOCES aid, so all the services that we purchase through BOCES, an increase of $29,143. And then the next three, just to touch on them each one, tuition refers to students that are coming to Greenville, so we had some conversation at the past couple meetings about the special ed programs that we have here at Greenville that students from other districts come to. At this point in the year, we can make a more accurate prediction of who are the students that will continue in those programs next year, and where might we fill other seats and other students might come to us next year. So we felt comfortable increasing the total amount of tuition that we'll bring in next year by $25,000. The next one is increase in interest. So that's a $50,000 increase. Again, looking at this current year, when we have funds that are in a money market that are making interest, we earn interest throughout the course of the school year on our money that are in those accounts. So because interest rates have increased over the past couple of years, we're comfortable in increasing the projected interest revenue that will come in by $50,000. And then the last one is the health insurance refund. This comes through the RCG Trust, so each year we get a notification of potential funds that will come back to the district from previous year spendings. So again, looking at what we know about this current year going into next year, we were comfortable increasing that revenue line by about $45,000. On the expenditure side, so on the right-hand side, these are items that were in the budget as of February 26th that were reduced when we presented the budget on March 4th. So the first one that we referenced last week was one of the stimulus positions. So again, there are 5 stimulus positions that we've been talking about that were not in this current year's budget. 2 of those positions, we had open positions this year that we didn't fill, so those kind of secured spots for 2 of them. That left 3 other full-time positions that originated in the stimulus funds that we were looking to keep in the budget. What I referenced last week was administrators. We had a conversation and looking at staffing and programming. We felt we could reduce one of those positions in next year and still maintain everything that we've been working on. So that's that first item. The second one, review of current year funds. This is something we do each year as well. We look at in this current year's budget, do we have money in certain codes that something we thought we were going to purchase came in cheaper, or we maybe didn't purchase it for one reason or another. So it's 2 specific areas: textbooks. We have some current year textbook funds that we can use to purchase books that would have been in next year's budget requests. So we're just basically buying them early with funds that we have currently, so we can bring that budget line down. And then the other one, similar, was equipment. We have current year equipment money that we can use. If you remember last week, Mr. Outram spoke about wanting to purchase a truck for his equipment line in B&G for next year. The other piece of that was a plow to go with that truck. We're able to purchase that plow this spring, so it will reduce that budget line for next year.
Todd, just a quick question for the textbook reduction. If I remember correctly, we have to spend a certain amount of money, like the $64,000 on textbooks in order to qualify for aid. So I'm assuming that the reduction still keeps us above.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are still above that, well, yeah. The maximum amount that we're able to get back from the state, we're above that maximum amount. Meaning we get all of that back, and then in addition to that, we spend general fund that we don't get aid on. But yes, the short answer would be yes. And then the last category there is review of requests for 24-25. Some of these were just a refinement of looking at quotes for next year. So the first one is RGR, Really Great Reading, which is the program that we're using at the elementary school for phonics instruction. We were just able to get updated quotes from the vendor, and we're comfortable reducing that by $3,000 from what we originally had planned. The $8,326 are supplies and services within high school supply codes and athletic codes. This is it's not a reduction that they're getting less than they did this year. It's just some of the requests for additional items in next year were reduced down overall. And then the last one there is $10,000 reduction in arts and education. So arts and education is a program through Questar that we are able to purchase services through so we get aid back on them. So an example that everybody's familiar with is when students have gone to Nature's Classroom or Poca McCready, we're able to run the cost for that program through Arts and Ed. We pay Questar pays the vendor, but then we get the aid back on it. So this is a budget line that, just looking at the past couple of years and this current year, what we've spent in that area, we feel comfortable we can reduce it by $10,000, and we're still able to provide all the opportunities that we're providing. And then the last one that's not listed on here, because it's actually between the March 4th and the March 11th meeting, there were some other kind of just fine-tuning of some different salary pieces and adjustments. Nothing that was one big significant number, but just kind of individual tweaks, budget code by budget code. And then let me just go to the next slide, and then if you have questions, you can ask. So where does that leave us as of today? So on the revenue side, we are at $35,986,371. And on the appropriation side, or the expenditure side, we are at $36,074,124, which leaves us with that deficit of $87,753. So that is similar to the number from March 4th. Again, it is a little different because of some of those fine-tunings and adjustments that I mentioned as well, but overall, same ballpark figure. The one significant piece that we're still looking to firm up, as I mentioned last week, is the health insurance rates. We have the or there's a meeting set for March 22nd that the RCG Trust is hosting, where we're supposed to get the final numbers for health insurance for next year. So that will be March 22nd. Will give us the information that we can firm up that health insurance number.
Thanks, Don. With this appropriations, I'm sorry, with this budget, what would the tax levy be? Good question.
So this is all, oh, I don't have it. This is all still at the 2.5%. Oh, I'm sorry, it is there. So this slide, similar to what we looked at a few weeks ago, 2.5 shows that deficit that I referenced on the previous slide of 87,753, and then kind of a scale up and down in terms of different tax levy percent increases. The 3.17 that's on the bottom, that is the tax cap, so that's the maximum that we would be able to increase the tax levy and still stick with the 50% plus 1 when it comes to voting.
So we'd have to go to a 3% tax levy to not have a deficit budget under the current spending level.
Correct.
Or we reduce spending to not have a deficit at 2.5.
Correct.
Right. And what have you heard recently, if anything, about the hold harmless and the budget negotiations? I know there's a lot of pushback against that.
Yeah, so the hold harmless piece, there's certainly a lot of conversation about that at the state level. I don't have a crystal ball, but the hold harmless piece, if you remember, won't affect us in terms of like, we were not negatively impacted like some districts were because of the hold harmless kind of going away. So in terms of where our numbers are from state aid, the foundation aid, my prediction is it will stay very similar to what it currently is. The big conversation is around those that are losing that amount.
Okay, sorry, no, the hold harmless is still a proposal, isn't it? We're getting rid of the hold harmless?
That's the governor's proposal, correct?
So the final budget could be different. There could be a compromise, and if there's a compromise, then we get less money, right? Most likely.
It could, depends on what scenario.
Right.
What they would have to shift away from is the current foundation aid formula. Right now, we are on formula. What we're projected to get is what the formula, which is what the state worked for years to get to, like that's where we are as a district. So again, don't have a crystal ball. From what I'm reading and understanding and just listening to, I don't think districts like us would lose. It's the districts that are already projected to get such a decrease are pushing to get some of that back. But again, we have to kind of wait and see where that all falls.
And I think that's the biggest issue we have right now across the board, whether you're a school district that has received less funds or districts like us that have stayed on formula, where we were actually increased the amount of funds that we were given. There's a lot of different scenarios that are out there. Is that money's going to have to come from somewhere? There's a lot of different lobby groups right now fighting for their cause and fighting for more money. Where the governor and the state will fall down on in regards to bringing everybody back to that whole harmless piece is still up in the air. We don't know. The tricky thing is we are putting together a budget that we feel meets our program, but the problem is we still aren't guaranteed the final numbers in state aid, and that's the piece that makes us all nervous.
Me too. That's why I want to make sure that that's still a proposal, and if there's a compromise, for example, they decided to phase it in to getting on formula and where the whole harmless, then we potentially would get less money, right? And if that happens, how would that affect the budget?
Well, less money would mean
You just
more we
reduce.
have to, and I think I know what you're, but I shouldn't assume I know where you're going. But we have to protect, or the board needs to figure out, do we want to stay at the 2.5, or do we want to try to get a little bit more comfortable with the numbers, not knowing what the revenue from the state's going to be?
Well, not more question, then I'll give people a chance to respond. First reaction is not comfortable with the deficit budget. Why should I be comfortable with that?
shouldn't be comfortable with a deficit budget. I think what we hope to be able to bring to you for adoption is a budget that is, we're showing it, the revenue and the expenditures being the same. As Todd mentioned, March 22nd is a big date because that is the biggest number that is still out there that is an unknown for us. Traditionally, it provides us a bit more on the revenue side, or I shouldn't say that. We don't end up needing to spend as much as we have in there right now. It comes down at a lower rate. So if it comes down at a lower rate, we'll be in a much better spot where we're no longer looking at an $87,000 deficit. And that's the process we play right up into that point of the board adopting a budget. Is this number changes week to week, dollar by dollar.
I think that from my perspective, I think it's worth waiting until the 22nd, because we could sit here and we could eliminate things that would get us down to the 87, but if the number right now, we expect it's budgeted, the health insurance is budgeted conservatively, which will then benefit us, which will then make up for the difference. So rather than proceed in activities that are just what-if scenarios, I would be comfortable waiting until the 22nd, seeing how the numbers come back, then rolling it up and saying, where are we at? Yeah, that would be my recommendation. I don't know how other people feel.
I agree with that. I would prefer to wait.
I agree also, just chasing our tail right now.
I agree. I think it makes sense. I just want to be clear that, or clarify, I should ask that once you know what that number is, the intent is to bring it into balance.
Yes, absolutely.
Just want to make sure,
Yes.
because, as an update, having a negative understanding that there's more information to come. Just wanted to make sure it's clear on what you were thinking for the next steps.
And also, just to be clear, a school can't run at a deficit. So we either have to dip into our reserves or cut. So, but rather than start going through what-if scenarios and everything else, I would just wait.
Right. I'm sorry, but talking about a deficit budget is just a lazy way of saying dipping into reserves.
All right, then I am going to, if we are comfortable, unless there are any other questions, then I'm going to move us on to the first reading for the updated policy 6380, which is the timeout room. And this was modified for some of the requirements that came from the state level, primarily being notification to the parents within 24 hours if a timeout room is used. So that's really the change that went through the policy committee and is reflected in this updated policy. I'm going to turn us over to Harrison Boyce and to provide an update.
All right.
Take it away.
So good afternoon, Board of Education, or sorry, good evening, rather, excuse me. So as we move into a further discussion, or at least we have been, I'm not sure where we are exactly at, regarding football, I'll have you know that at least 2 students recently, or I should say a couple months ago, has reached out to me expressing interest in a football team. Now, I will make you aware that, that may not be enough, I'll say, statistic, for, a full-on discussion, but I thought it would be a good place to start. I'll have you know, though, that my intention is not to put any kind of pressure on the Board of Education, Mr. Bennett, or the Greenville administration. I just thought it would be, a good start to report that, and I remain optimistic that more students in the coming months will reach out to me expressing interest. I'll always be happy to update the board more on that. So, thank you.
Thank you for your update.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad students are coming to you to bring things to, discuss tonight. Thanks for the update.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And just to clarify, football is not in the current budget, correct? Okay, so that deficit would then significantly increase. So I think it's a matter of priorities. We have many programs, and it's just how do we prioritize everything
Absolutely.
with that.
So, thank you.
Then I'm going to move us on to some of the action items. All right, any motion to approve the minutes? I'm going to combine 6-1 through 6-4. So I need a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of February 12th, 2024, February 26th, 2024, February 28th, 2024, and March 4th, 2024. We've had quite a few meetings.
Jim and Eric?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the finance reports for the month ending February 29th, 2024. Yes, it was a leap year this year.
Eric and Angela?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to accept the Committee on Special Education recommendations.
Angela and Eric?
Any discussion? All in favor? I need a motion to approve the personnel agenda.
And Dave? Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, you were just touching your ear. Do you want to?
Did I buy something?
No.
Any discussion?
Dave and Eric? Okay.
If this is gonna be on record.
Jim, just use the microphone, please, for the taping.
I just noticed that this is gonna be on record. The second position in the bottom paragraph has Miss Fitzgerald listed
Yeah,
twice.
I've already corrected that. Aaron just notified me of that, so I did update it. It is right on the onboard docs. So
Okay.
it is, it says his name, Mr. DeLong, and it also says his 45th day.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts? Dave?
Just a question for Mike about, we have a person that's gonna staff the fitness center. What's the plans on that? I'd like to go work out.
Yes, after the board went through and approved that last year, we are finally gotten through the hiring process and finding folks who are interested in then going getting the proper certifications to do that. So we are looking forward to opening up that space a couple days a week. The board had approved a certain number of hours to do that, so stay tuned. I'm not exactly sure what the date is that we will officially launch that.
And Mike, my understanding is it will be after school, so the public would not have access to the fitness center while school is in progress.
That is correct, yes. Probably should have clarified that, yep.
So any other questions? If not, all in favor? Aye. I need a motion to approve the capital reserve account referendum by resolution for presentation to the residents of the Greenville Central School District at the annual budget hearing on Tuesday, May 7th, 2024, and for a vote of the qualified residents of the district on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024.
Eric and Angela?
Any discussion? All in favor? I need a motion to approve the updated policies. 8160, which is the dogs on campus, 6150, which is the comprehensive attendance policy, and 6130, which is the DASA Dignif All Students Act policy.
Angela? Jay?
Any discussion?
I hate to do this, Christie, especially
Okay.
on this one policy. So I've had reservations, since we, did the first reading and we had some, community people speak about the dogs on campus policy, and I think we need to restrict or put a little bit more, guidance on that policy about when dogs can be here. And we can talk about it in policy. rest of the board aware that, if we approve it, then we'll have to amend it.
Okay, so what we probably should do then is, if someone wants to make a motion, we could pull that policy out. We could approve the other two, and then, would that cover us? Okay.
I'm making that motion to pull it out.
Okay, I need a second. All right, so now we're going to vote on the motion to pull the 8160 Dogs of Campus out of the approval process. Any further discussion on pulling it out? All in favor? Aye. Okay. So now we're left with then 6150, the comprehensive attendance policy, and 6130 for DASA. Any other discussion related to those two policies and approving the changes in them? Then I'm going to call a vote. So all in favor for those two policies?
First and second for that one.
Oh, I need, sorry. I was getting so close to getting it right.
I'll vote. Eric and Jim.
Okay.
Now we can vote.
Any further discussion? No. All in favor?
Dave, you?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the 8160, we're going to move back to committee. All right, I need a motion to approve an overnight field trip, please, for FFA going to the state convention in Buffalo.
Eric, need a second? Dave, thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor? I need a motion to approve the new textbooks titled Engineering Fundamentals Design, Principles and Careers, the 3rd edition.
Dave and Eric?
Any discussion? My question was, I thought the quantity was higher before, like 11 at one point, and then it just decreased. So in other years, would we still need more? That's why I wasn't sure if we have more students.
Right now, I think it was originally 10 or 11, and Christy Gordon, the school principal, let me know that there was only 6 kids registered for the class right now. So that's why they're ordering just 6.
But when we purchase textbooks, is it, Mike, I guess this would be a question for you, is it the type of thing that we're better off purchasing a couple of extras in case in the next year or so we have more students? You know, is it then difficult to get those same textbooks?
I will defer that I don't know the answer to that question. I will look into that. I don't know if there's a cheaper rate you get for ordering more, or we had a chance to view the textbooks last time they, I believe it was last meeting, we talked about the textbook. I don't know if it's worth ordering a couple more or not. But again, I think that's one of those things within the budget that there is, you know, if we find ourselves in a position to order a couple of extra books, we can. But I think for the purpose of right now, at this point, they felt that the need was only 6, so they wanted to make sure that they had the 6.
Okay. You kind of read my mind. I was going to suggest that we approve the 6, and then you get back to us and let us know if, you know, kind of looking forward, if there's a need and it's less expensive, or if we just wait until we need to. Any other questions related to it? All right, then all in favor? Aye. I need a motion to appoint the following individuals to serve on the Board of Voter Registration for 23-24. Kelly Downs.
Angela, Eric?
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. I need a motion to accept the donation to the Greenville Central School District from Edith DeSarno for a drum set.
Eric and Jay?
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much for your generous donation. I know that the music program welcomes it. Moving us on to topics for discussion at future meeting. So, any topics for a future meeting right now? Okay, then a couple of reminders. We have on April 10th, we have the BOCES Administrative Conference Center. We've got the annual meeting, and that actually is a very fun event, and the students prepare the hors d'oeuvres, and then we are taking through kind of the budget breakdown of BOCES, and then we will then vote on it on the 23rd. So has everyone RSVP'd to you, Daphne, on that?
I have yourself and
Okay.
Mr. Bennett and Angela.
Okay, all right.
Is there anybody
great.
else that would like to attend that?
I'll be there regardless.
Then on April 8th, we have budget number 4 for that, and at that point, we'll be approving, I mean, assuming that the numbers come out and everyone is comfortable with what is provided by the state, we'll then be able to approve that budget. And then, as I just mentioned, the annual election for BOCES is then on April 23rd. Any other dates that anyone can remember? No, that's it. Just let Daphne know if anything comes to mind. The closing open forum. Please note the same guidelines apply as stated during the first open forum. Is there anyone that would like to speak? All right. Then if I could have a motion to be made to adjourn to executive session to discuss the superintendent's evaluation. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.